The morning light filtered through the dirty windows of my cramped apartment as I stared at my reflection. Renee Thomas, reporter and photographer by day. Something else entirely by night. The bruise on my ribs from last night's encounter with 3 muggers in Crime Alley still throbbed, a reminder that Gotham City never sleeps and neither do its protectors. I pulled on my professional attire, a black blazer over a dark purple blouse, and tied my raven hair back. The dimples that appeared when I smiled in the mirror felt like a mask themselves, a different kind of disguise than the red spandex and claws I wore when the sun went down. "You ready for today, kid?" Bruce's voice crackled through my earpiece as I grabbed my camera bag. "As ready as I'll ever be," I replied, adjusting the tiny communication device. Bruce Wayne might be 65 and retired from prowling the rooftops, but his mind was sharper than ever. From his position at the computer in the cave beneath Wayne Manor, he was my eyes and ears. "Shrek is dangerous, Renee. Not in the way you're used to handling, but dangerous nonetheless. Men like him destroy lives with spreadsheets and contracts. That's why the Gotham Gazette needs this story. Someone has to expose what he's really planning." The Shrek building loomed over downtown Gotham, like a steel and glass monument to greed. I showed my press credentials to security and rode the elevator to the top floor, my heart beating faster with each ascending number. This wasn't fear. I'd faced down nightmares that would break most people. Literal nightmares when the dream angels granted me powers to stop Freddy Krueger years ago. No, this was anticipation. Max Schreck had been closing community centers, buying up properties where the poor lived, and now he wanted to build a power plant that would give him control over the city's electricity. His secretary led me into an office that screamed excess. Everything was expensive, everything was for show. "Miss Thomas," Max Schreck stood from behind his massive desk, his white hair perfectly styled, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Welcome, please sit. Thank you for agreeing to this interview, Mr. Schreck." I pulled out my notepad, setting my camera on the desk. "Our readers are very interested in your power plant proposal." "Of course they are. It's the future of Gotham." He launched into his rehearsed speech about progress and cheaper electricity, words that sounded hollow to anyone actually listening. Then the door opened, and my thoughts scattered like leaves in the wind. She was breathtaking. Blonde hair that caught the light, blue eyes that sparkled even in this soulless office, an hourglass figure wrapped in a professional gray dress. She carried a tray with coffee, moving with a grace that spoke of athletic training. "Your coffee, Mr. Schreck," she said, her voice soft. "About time, Selina. You know I like it promptly at 10. He didn't even look at her, dismissing her like she was invisible. But she wasn't invisible to me. Our eyes met for a brief moment, and I felt something electric pass between us. Her expression was carefully neutral, but I saw something beneath it. Frustration, anger, a caged wildness. "Would you like some coffee, Miss Thomas?" she asked. Yes, thank you." I managed, suddenly very aware that I was staring. She poured with steady hands, and when she handed me the cup, our fingers brushed. My heart did something complicated in my chest. "That will be all, Selina," Schreck said dismissively. She left, and I had to force myself to focus on why I was here. This wasn't the time. I couldn't just flirt with Schreck's assistant in the middle of an interview, no matter how my pulse raced. "I'm sorry, Mr. Schreck," I said, picking up my pen again. "I got sidetracked there for a second. Please go on about the power plant." He smiled, a predator's smile. "The plant will revolutionize Gotham's energy infrastructure. We'll store energy efficiently, distribute it more effectively. And charge whatever rates you want once you have a monopoly," I said before I could stop myself. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Schreck's smile became razor sharp. "Careful, Miss Thomas. Accusations like that require proof. Do you have proof?" I didn't, not yet, but Bruce and I would find it. Just asking the hard questions, Mr. Shrek. That's what journalists do. As I left his office 20 minutes later, my mind was split between the story I needed to write and the woman who'd served coffee. Selina Kyle. I'd got her name from the nameplate on her small desk outside Shrek's office. Something told me our paths would cross again. Gotham had a funny way of bringing people together, whether in the light or in the shadows where the Crimson Claw hunted. They wore strange clothes like circus performers. One had a massive strongman build, another was dressed like a clown with makeup that had run in the rain. Bruce, these guys look weird. Costume weird. Damn, I was afraid of that. Their red triangle gang. Used to be circus performers turned to organized crime. They've been quiet for years, but if they're active again, someone big hired them. The strongman looked up, spotted me crouched on the skylight. We got company, boys. The Crimson Claw. So much for the element of surprise. I crashed through the skylight in a shower of glass, landing in a crouch. My claws gleamed in the emergency lights. Put down the merchandise, gentlemen. Prison doesn't allow jewelry anyway. The strongman charged. He was fast for his size, but I was faster. I sidestepped, raking my claws across his arm. The anesthetic worked instantly, his arm going numb and useless. He roared in confusion. The clown pulled a knife, the blade wickedly sharp. He came at me with surprising skill, circus acrobatics making him unpredictable. We traded blows, my martial arts against his chaotic style. His knife sliced across my shoulder, drawing blood. The spandex tore easily. Bruce was right about the armor. I gritted my teeth against the pain and swept the clown's legs, following up with a claw strike to his chest. He went down, the anesthetic spreading through his system. The other two ran. I pursued them into the alley, but a black van screeched around the corner. The door slid open, and a short, pudgy man with a grotesquely long nose peered out. He wore an expensive suit and held an umbrella despite the clear night. "Not bad, little bird," he sneered, his voice like gravel. "But you're playing in the big leagues now. Tell Batman the Penguin sends his regards." The van peeled away before I could reach it, leaving me with two unconscious circus freaks and more questions than answers. "Bruce, did he just say?" "Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. He runs one of the major gangs in Gotham now. If he's working with the Red Triangle Gang, something big is happening." I looked down at the blood seeping through my torn costume, at my throbbing ribs, at the two criminals who'd take the fall while their boss escaped. "Maybe we should talk about that armor," I admitted. Sirens wailed in the distance. I melted back into the shadows, leaving the criminals gift-wrapped for Gordon's police. But as I limped across the rooftops toward home, I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight was just the opening act. Gotham's underworld was stirring, and I had a bleeding shoulder, bruised ribs, and a costume that protected me about as well as tissue paper to show for it. Some hero I was turning out to be.